Cool down the cake properly. Let the cake cool in the tin for a few minutes, preferably about 10 minutes. Then remove it and place it on a wire rack to cool down completely. Trying to cool it down quickly before it sets firmly can make it collapse. Preheat the oven so that you can bake the cake immediately after it's mixed, especially cakes with baking soda as a leavening agent. Cakes with baking soda. As soon as the baking soda comes in contact with the acid and moisture while mixing the batter, it starts reacting and releases bubbles. But the structure of the cake is not yet strong enough to trap the bubbles before it's put into the oven. Cakes with baking powder. Cakes using baking powder can be kept for a longer time outside the oven before they are being baked, and they will still produce almost the same amount of rise that you would get if you had baked it immediately after mixing. That's because baking powder is a double-acting leavener, unless it says single action on the label, in which case the batter needs to be baked immediately. Double-action baking powder contains two acids. One acid reacts on contact with moisture and the other reacts when heated. So a small amount of bubbles are released when the baking powder comes in contact with the moisture in the cake, but most of the bubbles are released when the batter is heated in the oven, hence the name double action baking powder. Different altitudes require different baking temperatures for the same recipe because of atmospheric pressure difference. According to most studies, for approximately every 2000 feet rise in altitude, the temperature, baking time, and quantities of every single ingredient needs to be varied. So it's better to look for a recipe that's specially made for a higher altitude than to try and change a regular recipe. Putting back a sunken cake into the oven will not help it rise further. But if the structure of the cake is not set and the cake is not taken out of the oven, then baking it further will develop a little rise. Check if the oven door is closing properly. If the door isn't closing properly, hot air will escape and the oven will not heat up as it should. Thank you for watching.